Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets for the next 30 days from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1.99 versus the regular price of $3.49 for a total savings of $1.50. Prices are already discounted across the board and no coupon is required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts menu, and lock them in for 30 days across all sports for only $1.99.
Yeah. All right, good Lord, welcome in. I don't even know what day it is. I'm going to guess it's Thursday, and I'm going to welcome you into another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, of course, powered by WagerTalk.com. There are, let me see if I can count, 4 games tonight in the association, so you know what that means. We're going to break all 4 down for you. We're going to do it with the original OG crew here, guys. Welcome in. That's it. The man himself back in action, riding shotgun here. There he is, Ski Prophet. In the middle here today. Who else? Who better than Mr. Rob Vino back? And, of course, oh, God. Good Christ, what was that? I wasn't expecting that. Tony Finn in the house, apparently. Got lost, made a hard left, and here he is with us today here, guys. No, we kid Finn. We love Finn. But let's a short card here tonight, guys. So we'll have an opportunity, obviously, to talk about each of these games from every way imaginable. But, Ski, let me start off with you, my man. How you been this week? How were you last night? And what do you got, if anything, up at WagerTalk.com today?
Oh, man. Yesterday was good. I was 3-1. I had a good day before that. I think I was 3-1 or something. So it's been a good couple of days, even though I wasn't on the show. And so far, I've made 2 plays in the NBA and 1 in the MLB.
All right, so you got some action, as they say here tonight, ready to rock and roll up at WagerTalk.com. So now the question is, Rob Vino, what do you got going, my man, tonight? What are you working on?
I am working on these 4 games, Joe. Nothing up yet. I'm going to have something, though, up there. There's a couple things I'm still looking at, guys, to tell you the truth, where I couldn't pull the trigger early. Probably will later on. Just a couple things to sort through here. NBA's been good, Joe. Year to date since January 1st, up over 45% ROI. Last 7 days, profitable as well. Last night was a split 2-2. In the end, we got that split because of the Washington Wizards, who came through with a nice cover, only laying 2 to Sacramento. So we'll look to do a little better than that here tonight.
Yeah, we talked about them yesterday here on the show. We looked at the first half. We looked at the total full game. We weren't quite sure if they were ever going to make it to the 245 mark, but they didn't. But they did manage to squeeze out 130 points in the first half. So way to play some defense, Sacramento. Good God. Tony Finn, talk to me here, my man. Yes. What do you got going on today? Major League Baseball in full effect, NBA. What are you on?
Really, it's not much of nothing extravagant, nothing exotic, nothing large, nothing exciting.
Sorry, I forgot. Wait, hold on, Finn. Hold your thoughts there, because I completely forgot to put you up on the board here. So we'll get you in 1 second. Just keep talking like somebody cares. Go ahead, go. Keep going.
Right now, I have 1 baseball.
Okay.
And 1 NBA. That's what I have, and they're not official. I have some work to do. This show, and 5 minutes after, we'll know.
I love it. All right, so bottom line
visit the Finn page.
It makes sense to visit the Finn page here and get the ball rolling for Tony Finn. Now I got to figure out how to get you on the screen here, Finn. So hold on 1 second. Let me see if the... Oh, Nobody good Christ, cares. There he is. All right, he's like a bad rat.
Nobody cares. Nobody
you know
cares.
What? Here, put that... Tony, could you do it? Get a little closer to the camera if you could. Just a little bit closer, because we don't see enough of your nostrils right now. What? So... All right, we're going to move on. Game number 1 here tonight, guys. Let's check it. Oh, don't even. You're going to start me off the bat with this? Good Christ. We got an angle of the day here today, guys. Of course we do. Game number 1. Let's see if we can dive into this here a little bit, see what we got going on from our good friend John Ryan, of course, at sportsmemo.com. And let's see what John's got in store for his favorites off a blowout win Here is the betting angle for today. We want to bet on road favorites. We want the road favorite coming off a win of 20 or more. We want the host coming off 3 straight games in which they and their opponent scored 100 or more points in each game. And over the last 5 seasons, we are looking at a 58-13 straight up, 47-22-2 against the number. That is a 68% winning percentage, which means we're back in the Bucks and laying the points here over the Atlanta Hawks tonight. So let's take a look at that game. We'll start there, where we're looking at pretty much 5.5 is what it opened, but we got a lot of Atlanta money because I'm seeing 4s in a number of spots here. I'm also seeing a total that's been creeping up, 228.5 now to 229. Heck, even a couple of 230s and 230.5s are floating around. So, Ski, let me start with you, my man. We got an angle that says we should be looking at the Bucks here. We got a market that says, I don't think so. Give me the Hawks. What do you say?
Yeah, well, I see John Ryan's ankle, and I'll raise him one. And I love to do this anytime Tony Fannon's on the show. So the Bucks, it's not that hard. The Bucks, anytime the line is -8 or less, 6-23 against the spread. So pretty much they feast on the week when they play some of these better teams or teams that are playing good. They're not able to cover the number. And the Hawks are just that. They're a team that's playing good. They've won 7 of the last 8 and covered the same 7-1. So I would look towards Atlanta. I don't think Giannis plays today, or I'll just continue to think he doesn't until he does. And I feel like they'll get Trae Young in the lineup, and that'll be enough. So I'll lean towards the Atlanta side. And if I like Atlanta, I'll probably lean under because they're playing a little bit slower, and I think it'll be more at their pace. And if I'm thinking no Giannis, I think that hurts Milwaukee's pace as well. So Atlanta and under for me.
Atlanta and under for Ski. And just give me 1 second, Rob, if you can. Tony Finn, if you don't stop typing, I'm going to reach through and break your fingers. How's that? All right? Because everybody can hear you typing, Finn.
Promises.
Good God Almighty. Stop typing. Damn it. Rob, I'm so sorry, my friend. Talk to me. Where do you lie here in this game here? If you can even still think over all the typing into the microphone that we've heard here. Tell me where you're at tonight, Milwaukee, Atlanta.
Quaaludes.
Yeah, it's a good thing I write it all down so I can just read it here, Joe. Ski, I'm going to build off of what he said there. 7-1, last 8 games against the spread for the Atlanta Hawks, and they've shot the ball so well from 3-point range. 6 of their last 9 games, they've shot 43% or better from 3. That's a really good number. The Bucks guys, 13 of their last 18 games, and that's a pretty good sample size. 13 of the last 18 games have totaled 233 or better. So the number here, 230, a little slight where that's concerned. Looks like the Bucks are trending toward over in almost every case here. They played on January 24th. The game hit 244. It was a 129-115 Bucks win. The Hawks in that game were without Trae Young, without Clint Capella, but they had John Collins and DeAndre Hunter, who combined for 63 points. So we'll see who gets in the lineup here for the Hawks tonight. I think it's just Gallinari and Trae Young that are questionable in this one, along with Giannis for the other side. I think I saw DiVincenzo, too, on that injury report. The Hawks playoffs hopes, they're battling for that 4th spot, and it means a lot to Atlanta because 4 means you get a home court in the first round series, but they're only 1 game ahead of Boston, 1.5 games ahead of the Knicks. That's a pretty good 3-way battle. I'd expect really good efforts from all 3 of those teams down the stretch. I want to talk about Nate McMillan's defense real quick here. The first 8 games when Nate McMillan took over, Atlanta held 6 opponents in those first 8 games to under 107 points, 107 or less. But since that time, there's been 13 games under Nate McMillan, and they've only held 4 opponents out of 13 under 107. So kind of that myth that we, that narrative that we started and kind of continue here, Nate McMillan and his defense, it hasn't really rung true where the numbers are concerned. Some really, really good numbers on back-to-backs here. Milwaukee only 2-5 against the spread in back-to-back games this year. But how about the Hawks? They're 5-1 against the spread when they're rested and the opponent is unrested. And those games are also 5-1 to the over. So Hawks 5-1 versus unrested teams against the spread. Hawks 5-1 over against unrested teams. That's a little easier to understand than the John Ryan angle.
Yeah, it's yes, it did. It truly is. They've also been actually pretty good at home. I believe 8-1 in the last 9 at home as well against the number, Tony Finn. So obviously a lot of questions: who's playing, who's not playing here, Tony. But assuming everyone's going to go here tonight, you're looking at a side, you're looking at a total. How are you approaching this one?
Assuming everybody goes tonight, that makes it really easy. Despite the Bucks' failures. In line as was just outlined by Rob and a little bit by Ski, they really had a practice session last night. They didn't have to do. Look at the plus minuses in this game. Look at the box scores. 12 players, 7 minutes or more. Nobody more than 25, 27 minutes. It was a practice session. Now, the hope is, if you're in Atlanta, that you're getting everyone back. That Trae Young's playing, that everybody's going to play. I don't believe they are, and if they do, I don't believe they're 100%. With or without the Greek, Atlanta's really been pressed, and they've played well, guys. They've played well. You outline it. They've been really pressed, though, at this last week or 10 days. And this is a game where you're laying 4 with the Bucks. It's all Milwaukee tonight from me.
Oh, going all Milwaukee here tonight.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot still to be determined here, guys, but currently that number sitting at 4, that's going to be a 7:30. I believe that's the early start here tonight, 7:30 Eastern time. Bucks at Atlanta. Let's move on to our second game of the night. This is going to be an 8 p.m. tip-off, and we're going to see the Golden State Warriors heading to Cleveland to take on the Cavs, who had an upset win yesterday, in fact, against the Charlotte Hornets, as they were a dog in that matchup. They opened up as a 7.5-point favorite here. I'm seeing 6.5, pretty much universal across the board. 224.5 to not a whole lot of movement on the total here, Rob Vino. But we got a Cavs team coming off a good win as a dog last night. The Warriors dropped 346 points on that G League team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't know whether that hurts them, helps them here. How are you going to approach this game?
Well, Tony just mentioned how Milwaukee had a little bit of a walkthrough yesterday. Golden State had that same walkthrough, right? Their minutes were way down last night. Nobody played 30 in that game. So the fact that it's back-to-back, they should probably still be fresh. And, you watch the last 2 games of Steph Curry, and you kind of feel sorry for Darius Garland, who's probably going to be responsible for him in this game. Garland last night, because Cleveland's also on back-to-backs, as you mentioned, Joe, 35, almost 36 minutes in that contest. He played the most of anybody on the team last night. So Golden State should come in here, like I say, pretty well rested, ready to fire. And when Steph is going like this, I hate to be against him, but I'll just throw a couple of Cleveland numbers out there. Surprisingly, the Cavaliers, for the majority of this season, have not been a good shooting team. But, boy, lately they have been 47.3% or better from the field in 5 of their last 6. That correlates to 5 of their last 6 going over the total. And as previously mentioned, the way Steph Curry and the Golden State offense is going right now, 224.5 might be a little bit too small here. The games that the Cavaliers have played, the 5 of the last 6 that have gone over, they hit 225, 250, 231, 226, and 216. So only one of those is less than the 224.5 required here. These 2 met earlier this season. Golden State wins 129-98. That hits 227. Golden State, I want to point this out because they don't have James Wiseman at center, right? So they're a little smaller. I mean, obviously, Loney can play center. But beyond that, they don't have much at the center position. In that game earlier this year, when they scored 129, they used Draymond at center and just played quick against the Cavaliers. Steph had 36 in that one. Love and Nance Jr. both back. Nance Jr. came back last night, I think, for Cleveland. So they're a little bit more, I don't want to call them explosive. I was about to, but they can score a little bit better. I think maybe over is the way to look here, Joe. 224.5 might look a little bit small in this one.
So the thing that we got to note here, Tony Finn, with this Cavs team is they're finally getting healthier again. Jared Allen last night was able to put in some minutes, dropped 15 and 11 boards there last night. You had Rob talked about no Wiseman. Sexton rested last night. So, Kevin Love in the mix. All of a sudden, Cleveland, who's been a mishmash of crap all year, finally starting to get a little healthier. How do you like them in this spot at home?
I'd like to like them. And what you just described is accurate. I mean, Larry Nance back, Jr., Allen, as you mentioned, Garland, Sexton did not return. However, I think with everything as you described and all the player personnel that are healthy and back in the lineup, they don't have to, at least Bickerstaff doesn't have to play D Wade, and not D Wade, but D Wade as much. And I think it's back to more, it's more status quo for Cleveland. Now that status quo isn't good enough, really, especially as Rob just recognized and outlined, and that is the Warriors also did a walkthrough. And if you listen to Steve Kerr before the back-to-backs that are coming up tonight and earlier this week, he mentioned that the schedule, and he mentioned this in the presser, and Steve's, as long as I've listened to him and watched him play and talk to the press, he's transparent, and he really doesn't, BS around. And he basically said, he mentioned this, he knew this back-to-back was coming up, got a good lead against an Oklahoma City D-League team, as you outlined, and he basically said to the press, listen, we have some really good opportunities ahead of us in these back-to-backs and player personnel situations. We need to take advantage of those. One of those he mentioned was last night, OKC. One of those is tonight as well against Cleveland. I like the Golden State Warriors too. They're not going to pummel Cleveland like they did OKC last night, but I think they win convincingly.
It's interesting, Ski. Both teams on the second of a back-to-back here. Pace is going to be interesting. All healthy now, the Cleveland Cavs. Who do you think dictates pace in this game? Because a lot of that will have to do with whether you like the total here or not.
Well, are they all healthy? Is Sexton, I think he's still questionable, or game-time decision. So we'll see if he goes tonight.
Yeah.
The thing, though, about the total, I'll say, is I feel like with Cleveland having those bigs back and down there versus Golden State without that many bigs, I feel like Cleveland's going to have success scoring, or at least if they're getting offensive rebounds, they'll have more chances. And Golden State, they'll probably play up tempo again like they usually do. And I think their offense, the way that they've been on fire, they'll have success too. So I would lean more towards an over. It's hard for me, like Rob said, to step in front of Golden State, but just seeing the size advantage for Cleveland, I think they can keep it close at home.
Yeah, it's and coming off of that win last night as well. So that game, 8 p.m., 8:10, in fact, tip-off tonight in Cleveland as the Golden State Warriors and the Cavs go at it. We're going to move on to the first of the late games, the 10-10 game here. Look at the Lakers in the win column last game out here, taking on the rejuvenated Boston Celtics. Opens up as a 6-point Celtics favorite. Still pretty much 6. I am seeing a 6.5 or 2 that are floating around. The total has creeped up just a half. I'm seeing a lot of 212s here. So, Tony Finn, let me come to you, man. It appears the Celtics, when healthy, and Marcus Smart, and everybody seems to be in, they're playing at a different level right now. Do you like them laying this many points on the road against this Lakers squad?
No, I don't. I listen, I like them tonight. I truly like them, and I haven't liked them much this year in certain situations. I don't like the fact that they're laying a touchdown. That was enough to make me stand back from the game, and reassess some things. I mean, let's be completely honest. Even Coach Stevens said so. He said when Smart and Jason and Kemba, they're all out there and healthy, of course they're going to look different, a little different. Well, yes, they are. The problem with this Boston team is, in my opinion, much like it is with Dallas. I don't think either one are title contenders in any way, shape, or form because of the lack thereof of a quality bench. Tonight, they play a team that doesn't have much of a quality bench. I don't have a bench without the Brow and without King James. And the last time these two played, I don't like comparisons, guys, but it's worthy of bringing them up because of certain situations. The Celtics lost 96-95 when the Lakers were at the Garden, and I believe it was on January 30th, 31st, something like that. Anthony Davis had close to 30 points, if I remember right, 14 rebounds. James didn't have a triple double, but he had like a 21, 7, 8, something like that. Pretty good numbers. Marcus Smart got hurt in that game. If you remember, he exited early in the fourth quarter, allowing the Celtics to still play hard and have some legs and win that 96 or lose that game 96-95. And they did that, like I said, with their best players. This is on the West Coast, but this is not a good spot for the Lakers. This is not a good spot for the Lakers, and I don't like the points that Boston's laying. But I'm on the side of Boston tonight. If there's going to be a play for me on this game, it would be on the Celtics.
Ski, the Celtics not good as a road favorite this year. I believe 5-10 straight up, 4-11 against the number. But this is it's a very unpredictable Lakers squad, as you know, man. How are you approaching this game tonight?
Well, Tony said a couple things that I agree with. It's not a good spot for the Lakers coming home after that long road trip. The reason Boston hasn't been so good, maybe because they just haven't had consistency with their lineup. They've had injuries or COVID, whatever it may be, kind of similar to Miami Heat. That's kind of how I'm looking at it right now, because now that they're healthier, they're playing better. So, and I look at the past two games, they had less than 10 turnovers. When teams are taking care of the ball like that, those are kind of teams I want to play on. So I also agree that the number is not a great number for Boston, but it is the only way I would look. I like the total more, though. I think both teams had a really slow tempo. Both teams top 10 defensive rated over the last 5 games. I don't like that Rob Williams has been added to the injury report, but I still like this game to go under. Total's under 217. They're still 68% for the year, and I think this is going to be another one of them.
All right, there you go, guys. Rob, Vino, talk to me, my man. Is this a totals game for you? Do you trust the Celtics laying 6 on the road?
Well, a couple of good questions there, Joe. I mean, first glance, before I, kind of examined the game, I thought that the line was out of whack, and that the Lakers plus the points should be a knee-jerk reaction play here. But there's a couple of things that would hold you back. Number one, and Tony and Ski both brought it up, first home game off a 7-game road trip. That's tough. But it is the Celtics. And it's not the 80s, 90s rivalry, Celtics, Lakers, but it still means a lot, as we saw in that first game, right? I think that was a Saturday night televised game. We saw both teams play real hard, that 96-95. So I think the Lakers will bring energy here. It's interesting that, their entire lineup is on the injury list, listed as probable, with the exception of Morris, who I think is questionable here. But, fundamental matchup-wise, I think Ski brought up, I got another one here, but he brought up a great point, because I'm thinking that Andre Drummond against Robert Williams this morning was going to be a real good matchup for the Lakers inside. If it's not Robert Williams and he can't go, it becomes an even better matchup for the Lakers inside. Robert Williams probably would have, on his offensive end, dragged Drummond away from the rim a little bit. The other one here is, I really wonder if Kemba can keep up with Dennis Schroeder at the point. And Kemba's been playing real good as of late, but I think Schroeder could answer back on his end. So that puts me in a quandary with the total, too. I mean, the total's in an area 212, where modern day, it's real easy to get to. But they have played pretty solid defense. I just don't think that the Celtics, and I've said this before, I don't think that the Celtics are as good a defensive team as they've been in the past, regardless of the ratings. And I think Brad Stevens has kind of gone, now that they're a little bit healthier. They don't have Evan Fournier back, but now that they're a little bit healthier, the push with Tatum and Brown to score points has been evident here. I still might lean over here, Joe, over 212, but it's a difficult game both ways.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's going to be 10 o'clock, guys, 10 o'clock Eastern time, that tip-off. Celtics taking on the Lakers, which leaves us one other late game here tonight, and it is the Sacramento Kings going to take on the Phoenix Suns. Opened up as a 10-point Suns advantage. I'll give you a guess where this line is gone. Now up to 12.5, pretty much across the board. The total also creeping up, 229.5. I'm seeing 234s pretty much everywhere. Now, let me start with this here, Ski. So Sacramento hasn't won a game in April yet, right? So what is that? 8 games now. They're 0-8. So I can't think of a better team to turn things around against than the Phoenix. No, I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm sorry, I can't even say it on a straight. They're losing the lottery teams like we're talking ping pong ball teams. They can't even beat Sacramento. So I get the line movement. Is 12 even enough in your mind for this game?
The only way I'm looking is one way. And just an update, Houston Rockets, I guess I'll take them off of the hell no list. The Kings are on the hell no list.
Oh, hell
no! The Thunder are definitely hell no list. So I should let you know kind of where I'm looking in this game. Yeah. It's no way I want to play the Kings. They're missing Rashawn Holmes again. They haven't won a game without him. And I'm looking at, we already talked, they lost 8 in a row. You know I like to fade teams that have lost 5 or more in a row. If you're doing that, you're over 60% for the year. I always talk about the Kings go as the defense goes. And they've been giving up 50% to their opponents like clockwork. The defense is non-existent. So I saw this one from Killer Sports. It's going to be Kings off a home loss, allowing their opponents to shoot 50% from the field or better. The last 10, they've lost all of them against the spread, and they were double-digit dogs twice. And I look at Phoenix. Usually I don't like to back teams that had to come back from like down double digits, but it's just Sacramento so pitiful, and double-digit favorites have been profitable this year. They're 62, 30, and 3 against the spread, so I wouldn't be scared of the number. I like Phoenix, and I probably even like them on the first half. The first half margin on the last 3, plus 10.3 for Phoenix, minus 9 for Sacramento. So I like Phoenix early and often, I think, in this one.
I like that as well. It's an interesting spot here, though, Rob, for Phoenix, even, coming off of the win last night against Miami. Miami was up early in the first quarter there, and then it just they kind of took over that. The question is not if, but by how many here? What benefits Phoenix in this game if they're up by 20 at half or 10 at half? Like what are we going to get here, do you think, from Phoenix? I think we know what we're going to get from Sacramento. So is the total in play? Is the side? How are you going to approach it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in play here, Joe. I mean, I could build off of what Ski said in a couple of ways, but let me just start with this, with the Rashawn Holmes thing, because with Marvin Bagley III already out for like the last 2 weeks, that front line was kind of shortened anyway. Last night in that game where they lost to Washington, they were totally dominated interior-wise and 2-point defense-wise. Washington shot horribly from the 3-point arc. But 2-point shots, they almost hit 61%. I think it was 60.6. And they won the rebounding margin by 25. The Kings' front line had 20 rebounds. Russell Westbrook had 15 by himself. So they're just a small team at this point in time. And Phoenix doesn't necessarily have that huge front line to totally dominate, but they should have an advantage here on the boards. Like I say, Washington committed over 20 turnovers, more turnovers than assists, didn't shoot from 3, and still won that game pretty easily against Sacramento. And Buddy Hield wound up going. So you'd expect him to go here again tonight. Phoenix, as a double-digit favorite this year, if you just erase Houston within the last week because they didn't cover against Houston twice as a double-digit favorite, they're 7-1 otherwise. They've been a pretty good bully, so to speak, so far this year. And the Phoenix offense against these subpar defenses as of late, 126 points versus Houston, game hit 246. 134 against the Wizards, game hit 240. 133 against the Rockets, again, 263. 140 against OKC, game hit 243. 121 against the Bulls, who Billy Donovan says have to figure it out defensively. 237 game total. And they even got to 117 against the Jazz, who's a really good defensive team, and that one hit 230. So 234.5 seems really, really short here, the way Phoenix is playing offense, 7-2 over the total last 9 games. Let's add this right here, because Ski talked about first half. Phoenix at home, their last 9 home games, they're 8-1 against the spread. They're kind of like what Gonzaga was in college basketball. Just destroy people in the first half and then play out the second half. 6 of those 8, they've won by 9 or better. We don't have to lay that much in the first half here tonight. And Sacramento's last 9 road totals, they're 7-2 over. So I think, first half Phoenix, first half over, full game over, full game Phoenix. There's plenty of ways to go here.
Yeah, and it's funny, too. Last night in that Miami game, it turned out to be just they bulldozed them. But Chris Paul had 5 points, guys. Devin Booker, I believe, what was he? 12 points. He was 4 of 16. So the bench for Phoenix was just phenomenal last night. So do you expect Paul and Booker to bounce back tonight here, Tony Finn? I mean, it's only going to go one way. The question is, by how many?
Yeah, that's a good point. You brought up, Joe. If you look at the bench, you look at the box score, and just take a look at shooting percentages. Look at the plus minus. I mean, there was 4 guys that came off the bench, 4 of them that were plus 20 or better.
Crazy
against the Heat. Yeah, and in this game, it's a very not only are listen, Phoenix is 10-1. I think 10-1. Is that right, guys? 10-1 against the spread in their last 11. And when they play lesser teams that defensively are similar. Let's say similar. I don't want to say equal or less than or more than, but similar to Washington or Houston. The Suns have averaged 130 points a game in the last 2 weeks against those kind of teams. Oklahoma City, 140 scored. Not that bad, but so in my world, in my orbit tonight, it's the Suns. They shared the minutes last night. I don't think there's any reason why they're not going to be, in full dress and ready for combat tonight. And I think not only they win by margin, and out rebound Sacramento, which is really if there's an Achilles for the Sun team, that they can be beat on the board, but not by Sacramento. Suns by double digits, I think maybe 20.
Fairly certain they'll come dressed, Tony, but thanks for your concern anyway. So? All right, guys, just want to let you know here, both Ski and Rob and Tony Finn locked and loaded here tonight. Best bets are available at WagerTalk.com. You heard Tony Finn. You certainly heard him typing throughout the whole damn show, which means that his best bets, they are loaded, guys. They are locked. They are loaded. They are ready to go. Write-ups and all ready to go at Tony's page at WagerTalk, of course. Rob Vino, too, just waiting for a couple of more notes, and boom, best bets locked and loaded here tonight. And Ski, might as well head over there, guys. No reason not to make it a profitable evening here, not only in the association, but across the sports landscape. So what we'll do, Ski, real quick, 4 games. Is there one of these games or one of these plays in these games you liked more than anyone else?
I do like quite a few, but there is one that I'll point out for today. And it was funny. I was waiting the whole show, or just waiting for you to mention Tony Finn on the keyboard. We had one of those moments on the original show, and it had like a little flashback for me. I was just waiting for it, so I loved it. For my best bet, we kind of all talked about this game already, and I'm gonna look at it from a way that pretty much everybody was talking about, but they didn't necessarily touch on what I'm looking at. It's Sacramento and Phoenix game. We talk about how Sacramento has been terrible without Rashawn Holmes. I took Russell Westbrook rebounds yesterday because Sacramento is the worst rebounding team in the league over the last 5 games and missing their leading rebounder. They're still the worst team rebounding wise and missing their leading rebounder again. Who's going to be doing all the rebounding is going to be Ayton. He's the leading rebounder for Phoenix. He's going to be scoring too because he's been averaging over 16.5 points. Just 5 out of his last 6. So I like Ayton, points, rebounds, assists, over 28.5.
Love, yep, that's outstanding. As a matter of fact, as I'm getting ready just to hit send on that one. Very good. All right, talk to me here, Rob Vino. 4 games, a lot of different ways to go in these games. Which one do you like the best here, my man?
Yeah, I'm going to stick in the same game, Joe, and I'll just go to first half betting, sort of like Ski's motto: get in and get out. Let's get paid and go do something. Let's move on to the next thing. But I think Phoenix, Sacramento first half, I have to like the Suns minus the 7.5. Like I say, they've been total destruction at home, 8-1 last night against the spread and beating people by 9 or more. So we don't have to lay 9 or more. We'll only lay 7.5 here. I think they'll probably be up by double digits by the half. They're just, again, to compare them to Gonzaga, I think is pretty fair what Gonzaga was doing in college basketball season, just disposing of teams first half. Phoenix still in a quest to get to that best record, but they're certainly in good shape as far as home court advantage would go in the playoffs. So I like Phoenix first half. I'll lay the 7.5 as the best bet.
All right, there you go. Time left on the clock. We are not giving it to Tony Finn because he'll spend that time typing. So let's go, Finn. Talk to us here, my man. Best bet time. Where are you going to go tonight? Yeah, that's the no. Keep going because you sound amazing.
I'm going to go to the Greek. I'm going to go to the Greek. I'm going to use a real microphone. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm like this Bucks team tonight. I like I said, Atlanta has been tested. They've been tested. They're wore out. They're tired. They've been playing short benched, missing some stars. Question marks are who's playing tonight. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't even matter if the Greek plays. And I know that Minnesota is in Atlanta. I know Orlando is in Atlanta. But Milwaukee did anything they wanted to do in these last two games. On Sunday, on Wednesday, and tonight they did the same thing. Take Milwaukee, lay the 4, collect it the window when all is said and done.
All right. Give us a little typing action. Go ahead. Let us hear you do it one more time. So, oh, God, give me the Stevie Wonder. I can't believe it. Fantastic job there, Tony Finn. We do have one more play here, though, from our good friends from the Gold Sheet. They've got a best bet tonight, and their bet. Oh, sorry, Ski. Oh, damn. Laying the 6, Celtics on the road. Brutal. Listen, if you want to read the full write-up here, and don't do it now. We don't want to piss Ski off anymore. But the Celtics laying 6. You head over to WagerTalk's Twitter page. All of the Gold Sheet plays of the day. Their full write-ups can be found on the Twitter page of WagerTalk. So head on over there, guys. Check them out. And we will recap here a couple of the best bets across the board, including Ski Profits. I love this one. I already bet it. 8 and over 28.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. I'm going to throw one in there, too. Chris Paul, under 9.5 assists tonight. I don't think he plays the second half. Rob Vino, Suns first half, minus 7.5. Get in and get out. That reminds me of a chick I dated. Tony Finn, Bucks laying 4. We're going to get that on a T-shirt. You can bet your ass. Lay a 4 with the Bucks, likes the Bucks. The Gold Sheet likes the Celtics on the road as a big favorite. Ski also favors the over in that matchup. And, of course, no contrarian game here tonight. But if there were to be one, Rob Vino, what would be the contrarian game of the day, do you think? If we had to pick a contrarian game.
It would have to be that Milwaukee-Atlanta game.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
And Finn is on the contrarian side. So good job, Tone.
Yep, way to go, Tony. You can just Okay, guys, don't forget, man, upper right-hand corner, hit the bell. And then, of course, make sure you visit these guys' pages. Best bets, locked, loaded, ready to go. No reason not to make it a profitable Thursday as we get ready to make it a huge weekend in the world of sports. But in the meantime, good luck with your plays tonight. Make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow. There he is, Tony Typer. Come back and join us again tomorrow. Guys, we'll do it all over again here on the NBA Tip-Off Show. Best of luck with your plays. We'll see you then.
To lock in your favorite WagerTalk expert through the end of the calendar year, it would cost you close to $2,000. But through Sunday at midnight, you can get all sports for all of 2021 from the handicapper of your choice for only $9.99. This comes out to under $4 per day and includes any rare 5% best bets released over this time. Act fast as the WagerTalk rest of 2021 All Access $9.99 special expires Sunday when the clock hits midnight.